Hey YouTube, it's DieHard bringing to you my first ever review of a game, and the game I'm reviewing today is Battlefield 3. Now, I know that you see my Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 videos, but I tell you, I picked up Battlefield 3 last night, and this game is just phenomenal. The gameplay, the visuals, the sound, the mechanics, it's phenomenal. The downside is, the biggest downside is waiting for the 2 gig update, or the patch, the patch fix, because they fixed their bugs, which is great. That's great for Dice and EA to really stay on top of it and update their titles, unlike THQ with WWE 12. For starters, I'm going to start on the visual aspects of the game. If you have a high definition TV, this game's visuals will blow every game out of the water currently. That I believe firmly. I believe that it makes it almost makes WWE 12 look like you're playing on the Super Nintendo. The visuals are so smooth and lifelike. It makes and I like Call of Duty. I'm a Call of Duty guy, but I definitely a big fan of this one. It makes even Call of Duty look kind of plain. And so visually, I give this game 9.5 out of 10, just because of the visual representation. The sound mechanic is amazing. I can only imagine what it sounds like on a surround sound, like a 7.1 or a 5.1 setup. I'm just using it through my basic 2 speakers on my TV. It sounds amazing in the Turtle Beach headset, so I can only imagine how awesome it sounds, when you have the surround coming to you from every different angle. And, that's one of those great things. Before I get into the game, well, actually, I would rate the sound quality, probably 4.5 out of 5 stars. I wouldn't give it a 10 scale, but definitely a 5 scale, and it's right up there. I did notice that it did peak a couple times, like on explosions, that some of the explosion sounds didn't sound completely realistic, but pretty damn close. My next category would be gameplay and the gameplay mechanics. And I tell you, I played some pretty realistic games. I played some pretty phony games. But this game takes the cake on the realism. I mean, the most unrealistic part I found is that you can sprint, for almost an unlimited amount of time. But other than that, I mean, the gameplay is so solid. I mean, you literally have to look down your sights to get your kills. I mean, yeah, you can hip fire and spray and pray, but you're not guaranteed to get that kill like with its counterpart or its enemy, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, because you are given an optional crosshair on Modern Warfare 3. You're not really given one on Battlefield 3 unless you look down the sights. When you're looking down the iron sights or in the scope, then you get your crosshairs. I mean, it has a kind of bland, large crosshair that doesn't really, do it justice, because it simulates the gun being pointed in front of you and not from a hip fire. The lunges, like when you jump or you leap over a box or a crate, it looks amazing. You actually see your character's feet go out from under him when he jumps over something. And then one of my favorite things, I've only been able to do it a couple times, but the knifing aspect of the game. If there's 3 ways you can knife somebody. You can normally knife somebody from behind. You won't take their. It's when you're just sprinting at them, then you swipe your knife. You hit the right bumper, you swipe your knife. That'll be an instant kill. You can knife them from in front, and it actually looks like you stick the knife in their throat, right across the larynx and everything. And then there's the third and my favorite one. You steal their dog tags when you do it, but when they're standing still, or if you're standing still, you hit right bumper, and you'll take them down, and then you do them in. And you take their dog tags when you do it. And the cool thing about that is you get to keep the dog tags in Battlefield 3. You don't get to keep them in Call of Duty from when you're playing Kill Confirmed. Weapon-wise, in comparison to like Call of Duty, the weapons for the most part are the same. The leveling process is a little different, but in a general nutshell, though, it is probably one of the best. Yeah, I believe it's currently the prettiest game on either the 360 or the PS3, or even on the computer, especially on the computer. It looks amazing on the computer. I got to play it on Christmas Eve at my buddy's house, and that's what really made me want to get it. I originally was going to get it, but I got Modern Warfare 3 instead. And, I wish I would have been playing it sooner because, this game is just phenomenal. And, other things, there's a lot of enjoyment in it. It really brings on the aspect of having to, work with your teammates to win the game, especially if you're in, like, team squad deathmatch, or, squad team deathmatch. That in essence is if you have 4 people in a party or 4 people in player chat all with headsets, that is the easiest way to communicate with each other to obtain victory. And it makes it it's a true test of will when you can work with your team, because you can't just run and gun like in Modern Warfare 3. It heavily relies on your teamwork. And that's probably one of the most important factors about these games is teamwork. Another thing, before I get on to any other things, I do want to give my rating for the gameplay. Some people will agree with this, some won't. I'm going to say 9.8 out of 10. There's only one thing, actually, I'd want to include, and I've yet to see it in a first-person shooter, except for, I believe it was in Duke Nukem, like old Duke Nukem, not Duke Nukem Forever. But if you were out of ammo, or they should allow you a different melee than just with a knife. Like, let's say they offered you a bare-knuckle melee, and you give them a right hook, and then you switch it to your knife, and then you knife them in the throat. That would be kind of cool in a first-person shooter. That would really give you that perspective of knocking somebody on the ground, and then, killing them. Or, something along, or punch them in the face, knock them out. Like, it'll stun them, like a stun grenade, or like the effects of a stun grenade, knock them groggy. And then you could, pull out like a 9mm or something, just pop, finish them off. I think that would be great. That's what first-person shooters need. They need that melee effect with just your fist, just to allow you to just, rock that person and pop them away. These are games in all reality. They're games, and I think that would just add that little bit more enjoyment or that little extra thing to it. But yeah, so 9.8 out of 10 for gameplay for me. So overall, I would rate this game out of a possibility of 10 stars. I would, with the inclusion, if it had that melee function that I was just talking about, I would say 10 out of 10. But because it doesn't have that and no other games have it, I'm going to say total score 9.9 out of 10. Just because the gameplay is very fluid, the gameplay mechanic is very solid, the audio sounds superb. I can't wait to hear it on a surround sound system. The visuals are mind-blowing, especially if you have HD television. And I know you're seeing these 4 videos here. The one in the left-hand corner, the left bottom-hand corner, that was the first online game I played on Battlefield 3 when I first got it on Thursday night. And I did relatively well. I didn't do so hot in the other 3 games, but I did pretty well. Don't forget to leave us a like, subscribe to us, leave us a comment, let us know how we're doing. We plan on doing many more of these, so hopefully it all works out at the end there and everybody becomes happy. And don't be afraid, if there's a game that you find like a diamond in the rough, like Bejeweled or something, if you screen cap it or whatever, if maybe you don't have a voice for, or whatever, maybe you don't have a visual kind of aid thing, or you don't really have a way to, overdub it so you can do review, go ahead and send it to us, and we'll more than happily do a review for you, and we'll, thank whoever it is that submitted the footage. If there's any specific games you want to see a review for, go ahead. Styles and myself, we plan on starting something along the lines of, we don't know a name of it yet, but it's going to be kind of like classic game reviews, some games that people may have played, back in the day and they really liked, and we're going to go back in time a little bit, give those reviews on those games, because those are the games that really paved the way for the games of nowadays, and they really deserve some recognition. And a lot of games come to mind. I think of Chrono Trigger when I think of a great game. So, or Final Fantasy VII. The first Resident Evil, which was very straightforward, but it was very fun. But yeah, so like I said, don't forget to leave us a like, send us a comment, send us a message in our inbox, anything you want. And it's any way to, get it out there, let people know, hey, look, Urge Entertainment, they're for real, and they're doing something that, hopefully everybody will enjoy. Again, I'm DieHard, and this was my review on the online portion of Battlefield 3.